What you are listening to is real. The parties involved are not cool. They are actual geeks with a case pending in the court of public opinion. The party's case has been dismissed, and the dispute will be settled here on our podcast. There will be no lawyers. There will be no witness testimony. The judge's decisions are final.
Hello, I'm Judge Ivan.
I'm Judge Jonathan, and this is Geeks on Trial. Today's case, Tears of the Coworkers.
Welcome to Geeks on Trial. This is the podcast where we settle petty disputes between actual geeks over movies, video games, board games, and more. If you'd like to submit your own geeky case for a future episode, you can email us at geeksontrial@gmail.com. You can also support the show over at patreon.com/geeksontrial for just a few bucks a month, and you'll gain access to both our audio and our video episodes before they are released to the general public.
Oh, hold on. I'm getting a phone call.
Oh.
I'm getting a phone call.
Okay.
Hello? Oh, it turns out there's news about phones.
Ah, shit.
So that's
Who called you?
how we're starting off the intro.
No. Who called you?
Oh, it was whoever Steve Jobs is, but for Google.
Oh, Google
you know
Jobs.
Who that is?
Google Jobs.
Google Jobs, which I keep trying to get, and for some reason they won't let me have one.
Well, you have to go
Probably
to
'cause
jobs.google.com.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
I've been going to googlejobs.com.
Oh, that's a
And it's just been Googling
website.
jobs.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, have you ever received a Google job?
Twice today, actually. I'm loving it right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
Mhm.
Before we get to our case today, seriously, we thought we would talk a little bit about some tech news, which is that actually by the time this episode has come out, they will have already had, I think, their full-on presentation unveiling the details of the new Google Pixel Fold,
Mhm.
which is the newest Pixel phone, not the first fold phone, however. We've seen a number of iterations of this. Samsung has one, I think, is the highest profile one right now.
Yeah.
And essentially, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's a regular smartphone,
Mhm.
but you fold it in half. So it's like if I had two of these, I would fold it in half. It would be like it's like two phones next to each other that you can fold and open, so that once you have the whole screen extended, you can see a wider field of view. You could play better games on it, watch movies, whatever.
It basically makes your phone into a tablet, or half a tablet for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had phones that folded before for many years.
Well, they didn't fold. They flipped.
Well, but what's the difference?
Well,
What's the
yeah.
difference between a flip phone and a fold phone?
I don't know. Remember when Jerry Seinfeld would have a clone of himself that would just answer all of his questions
Yep.
like that? I don't know. What is
Oh,
it?
you're just blowing out our audio.
Now, well, what can I say? That's what a Google job is. What's your general thoughts and feelings about fold phones? Because this is a thing that has been kind of threatening to become a thing for a few years now.
Mhm.
And I feel like there's been technical issues along the way. It's also very expensive. And it feels like, it's not quite ready to be a mainstream thing yet. Do you feel like, is this something you would want?
I don't like them. They're cool because, like, first reason why it's cool for me, number one,
Yeah.
you don't need
Number one.
a case, because, like, you don't need to worry about your phone screen getting scratched. You just fold it. It's itself. It's like a laptop. You don't have a case for your laptop. You wouldn't print a phone, would you? But so you just fold the
I wouldn't.
phone. It's folded on itself. It's safer. Number two is it can be like a laptop. Like you can have it sit up on itself. You could type on one part. You could have a screen. So it's like it's easier for that. It's easier for gaming. And number three, you get more screen space, which is always amazing because, we're on our phones more than we are computers nowadays, most of us. But my problem...
So that's three very convincing reasons to buy this.
Right.
So
but then
what's
my money-conscious, cheap self comes into
Sure,
play.
sure.
They're expensive because you're buying two phones, in theory. You're buying two screens next to each other. And I have a feeling that we don't have the technology there yet. I'm skeptic on, like, you're folding a screen in half every day, multiple times a day. You're going to get a line in there.
So it sounds like if like in a theoretical ideal world where this technology was perfected and it wasn't super expensive, you would think it was cool.
Yeah, because I do think it's cool. I just think it's impractical.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
also, like, you're folding a regular sized phone in half, and like a phone is fairly not thick, but like that's a decent sized thickness. Double that, it's going to be you're going to have a bulge in your pocket that you don't want, and you're not happy to see me.
That's definitely part of it. Yeah, the thickness is an issue. So thickness not always exactly what you want in every situation.
It's true.
And yeah, right now I think it's predicted that the cost of the new Pixel one will be $1,700.
That's insane.
And I don't know off the top of my head what the Samsung one costs, but probably $1,000 or more. Like they're certainly. I mean, think about what a new flagship iPhone these days is like $1,000, right? Or 800 or something like that. Yeah,
phones be expensive now.
They do be. And so, and what you said before about the screen, that's happened. I've seen pictures and videos where some of these earlier iterations of this, the screen will get screwed up and it will just be. It'll be all glitched out, or the phone will literally just split in half.
Well, like if you want to see like the real world hands-on method of this, like go to your local Best Buy or cell phone store, and they have these on display, and these are played with roughly by people all day, and you can see like where they're going to break, and like not even like when they're going to break, but like still like you're opening a screen like this, and there's going to be like slack in the middle. Like it's not going to be perfectly smooth. Because it's plastic. Plastic bends with heat, plastic molds, and you're going to get that like little like horseshoe shape in the middle.
There are things, like you said, that I like about it. I still miss the days. Truly, I think my favorite phone I ever owned was the one with the slide up, and then there was a little keyboard, a physical touch keyboard. And this would still be a touch screen, so it's not exactly the same.
Well, that was like the first Android phone, right?
I don't know if it was the first, but I don't even remember, honestly. Maybe it might have been maybe it was a Droid or something.
It might have been a Droid, yeah.
But does that even exist anymore? Do they even make droids? No. What a thing. But I miss I liked having my thumbs to have full access to a big sized keyboard.
Right.
I don't know that what really are the use cases for this? I guess it's easier to browse the web and it's more and watch YouTube videos and stuff like that.
It's really just more screen space because like that bottom screen, it's not going to be like a Nintendo DS where it's like, oh, you're using one. It's not going to. Apps aren't going to split your phone into two different things. People who make apps aren't going to like. I'm sure there's a few apps out there that you can download that take advantage of it, but it's going to be gimmicky.
Maybe this is more for people who don't have, I feel like it's increasingly rare for people to have desktop computers in this day and age.
Oh yeah.
But most people have why is this better than a laptop? I guess if you're on the go and you work a lot, it's easier to write emails or maybe even look at like a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation or something theoretically. There are possible use cases for it, but I don't know if there's anything that I feel like I really, and also if this became mainstream, what's that going to do to things like TikTok? And like right now, every website almost these days they gear themselves more towards the mobile format than the desktop format.
And this would be making people go back into like 16:9 viewing angles, and
you would have to completely rework.
That is like the one good thing. Like it's good for watching movies because like it will give you back that 16. It'll be small still. It's no bigger than a 5-inch screen, but it's still 16:9. Or when it's fully folded 4:3.
Yeah, like if you're on a plane, you might flip it up like a laptop and watch something in front of you. Yeah, it's weird. It's interesting. I mean, I'm kind of, I guess the fact that Google is going in on it and Samsung did indicates that, well, either A, they actually believe in the technology, or B, it could also be that thing like when 3D TVs or when curved TVs were a big deal of manufacturers saying, we need a new reason to convince people to buy a phone. Because you hit a point when phones technology is so good, you don't really need to buy another phone.
Well, we talked about this in the pre-show. Like, we don't need, like, I don't buy a new phone every year. My phone, I have the Pixel 5, and it's doing what I need it to do quite well. The camera's great. It still shoots 4K video. I can do decent audio recording on it. Like,
Yeah.
the only new thing that I would want from it is maybe a higher definition screen. But, like, I don't even need that. My vision's not that good.
To me, the biggest thing that I wish was, I feel like this should be the forefront of every phone discussion, is battery life.
Right.
We've just become accustomed to living with subpar battery life, but why aren't the scientists just working on week-long batteries? This is what I want. That's all.
Well, and you would think they would be working on that too because of like smart cars and like electric cars. Like, it would be making bigger batteries, which would downgrade and go into cell phones.
They might be for that. Maybe they are somewhere. It's just not.
Well,
yeah.
How often do you need to, like, I'm a once a day charger. I only charge my phone once a day. I charge it when I go to bed.
Yeah, I don't have like a distinct. I will just plug it in whenever I'm near an outlet. You know what I mean?
Because I try not to do that because they claim that like running your battery from 100% to 0 is better for the life of it.
That's like a thing that's older batteries and also important. Maybe if you're gonna, like, by the time that's important, I probably would get a new phone. Like, I don't think that's gonna. It could have an impact, but I think that modern phones are made well enough that
anytime you plug in,
you're not going to notice it that much. Maybe,
but
you
still,
are.
Don't like.
I don't know.
I also like. I don't like charging. Like, I don't like having a wire tethered to my phone.
You get a wireless charging pad.
I don't like. Oh, actually, I can't use those with my case. My case is too thick. Well, that's the other thing I was thinking about with these flip phones. A lot of stores and companies have gone in on making cases. You can't really make a case for a flippy phone.
You didn't need to. Or are you talking about for a flip phone or a fold phone?
Fold phone. I'm sorry. A foldy phone. Excuse me. Yes.
They'll find a way. They'll find a way to sell you an accessory. Don't worry.
Like,
yeah. I'm sure they exist. They probably exist now.
I'm sure they do. But yeah, it just seems like stores won't like it because, like, people are still going to have their regular phones. But, like, they made these third-party people, like, Mad Cats, are going to be like, we don't want to make another screen thing for this phone. Also, screen protectors. Yeah. I don't know if you're a screen protector guy. I am.
I'm not usually. If I can avoid them, I try not to because I don't like the feeling of them on my fingies. But I know I put my life in my hands every day without a screen protector. Now, there does come a point when if you got a foldy phony in your pocket that's that big, and you want to game on it, you might as well make the leap and get something like, say, a Nintendo Switch.
Well, yeah, or like go find an old DS. Like, at that point, like, you have a thick phone you have a thick boy in your pocket. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I was trying to do a segue.
That's fine.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Pick up on it. Yeah, I was just saying, the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Was you could have a Nintendo Switch.
I heard there's a new game coming out for the Switch. It's a Legend of Zelda game that's coming out.
Yep, that is so funny that you bring that up.
Yeah,
what a great interesting coincidence, because that does in fact tie into today's court case.
Oh, that's what we're here for. We're not the flippy phony, foldy phony show.
We were for about 10 minutes, and now that's over.
Oh,
and now we're back to doing what we do best,
which is
giving geeks the business.
We're giving you the business.
New slogan? We'll see. Oh, right. I have one of those. Forgot to pick it up. Usually I'm fiddling with my gavel the whole show. And then sometimes I pick my hammer up, too.
Can't tell people that.
Okay. Today's case comes to us from the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You can find a link in our episode description. And our defendant this week is Lincoln. This is a very timely case, as we implied, because Lincoln happens to be excited about a brand new release, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, on the Nintendo Switch. Highly anticipated, and if you're watching this, this episode's being released on the day that game comes out. I'm probably playing it right now.
You probably are.
While you're watching this.
Nerd.
What can I say? I'm a bit of a loser. So Lincoln has been anticipating this game, again, for months, and months in advance, he requested time off from his job so he could have the whole weekend free to do nothing but explore the beautiful world of Hyrule. However, now that the date is fast approaching, perhaps it's here, depending on when you're watching this, it has become apparent that this weekend is not just the Zelda release weekend. It's also Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, crap. I have to go buy a gift.
A little reminder for everybody out there. And some of Lincoln's coworkers would like to have that time off so that they can see their moms. However, not everybody can have time off at the same time because capitalism, they need people to work there, so the business doesn't go under. And Lincoln got his in advance. So one of Lincoln's coworkers actually asks him straight up if he would be willing to part with his time off and give it to her so that she can visit her mother. And Lincoln says no. Now, as dual judges here on Geeks on Trial, it's our job to determine whether we like what Lincoln is thinking or if his story is stinking. And he should let that sink in. Thanks you. Thank you. And I also want to add that it is known at Lincoln's job that he is doing, and apparently word got out that he's taking the time off for video games. So it's not a secret. That's part of the dispute here.
Right. Now, have you ever worked a job where you needed to where you needed to request for time off?
A Google job, yes.
And stuff like that.
Yes, I have done that. I have had a job like that before.
It is the most weird, the most.
It's frequently, I feel like this is basically retail jobs, food service jobs.
Even like office jobs. Like when I used to work in the office.
Yeah, that's true.
You have
office jobs too.
You have to beg and request to use your days off that you are given to as part of your salary, which you're not supposed. If you're in the U.S., you know what I'm talking about. Outside of the U.S., you have real rules where you have to beg and ask for this time off. So there is a hierarchy when coming to paid time off, and it's first come, first serve, as Lincoln did. He knew the new game was coming out, the Tears for Fears game. He knew that game was coming out. He put in his time off. And he got the job, the time off. This person who wants, I guess, a 3-day weekend for Mother's Day, that's a little weird to me. Whatever, I'll talk about that later. Didn't put in this. Mother's Day is the same day every year.
True.
Why didn't she put this time off?
Is that true?
It's always a Sunday in May.
Yeah, okay. I knew that. Close enough.
I'm talking out my ass here. But why didn't she...
That's what we do on this show.
Why didn't she request this a year ago when she knew, the new calendar's out, Mother's Day is whatever day it is, let me put in this day?
It's a good question. Now, it's not totally clear to me how much time is being discussed here. Certainly, I think this Friday is being asked off. And presumably this must be a job where they work weekends, but I'm not sure. It sounded like this maybe was for travel time, and maybe she has the Saturday and Sunday off by default, and she just wants the Friday to get there earlier. I don't know. I don't think it was stated what this job is, so it's hard for us to judge. It would be funny if the job turns out to be like he's a brain surgeon or something.
Yeah. Well, he's actually one of the developers for the game. This is actually happening at Nintendo.
What a twist. What an ironic twist.
But like whatever the job is, like what I'm assuming is we're just talking about this Friday. That they both want Good Friday off.
Right. Yes. So we'll go with that. Maybe we'll say that, even though Mother's Day is a Sunday. I don't know. There's something going on.
Yeah. That she either needs travel time, or she likes her mother that much that she wants the entire 3 days off to do whatever.
Now, in my experience, when I had to have a job where I had to call out and things like that, it was an hourly pay job where, not a salaried position. So like if I took time off, I wasn't getting paid for that day.
Right.
In this instance, it is paid time off. Don't know if that affects anything, but it's I think worth pointing out that this is, he has a certain number of days he's allowed to take, presumably for vacation, mental health, whatever. And it sounds like different from a sick day.
Yeah, it's usually a paid time off day. It's like a day at your choosing.
Right. So that's what he has chosen it for.
And he nicely was like, I need this day off. He could have just taken a sick day.
Right, that's true too.
And just been like, oh, sorry, I got the Zeldas. I can't come in. Sorry, I'm sick.
I got a bad case of Octorox. Oh Oh man, I got the ocarina
Ooh,
from
my
a girl
stomach.
last night.
I ate some of that bad food that I cooked in the last game. It's not good.
What is your what's your threshold for taking time off from a job? Have you ever taken off or even skipped work to play a video game or something?
Yes. I've taken
Everybody
days
has,
off.
right?
So I used to I've worked a number of different jobs. So in retail, I have taken days off, called in sick because there was a midnight release for a movie.
Mm.
So I didn't want to go in.
Remember when they used to do that?
I know. I don't remember what movie it was, but like I was working at a Kohl's back in the day, and I called off because I had an 8 a.m. call in, like to go in at 8 a.m. And I'm like, I'm not going to a midnight movie and then waking up to go to work at 8 a.m. So I called out sick because I didn't want to go in the next day. So like I've done stuff like this all the time. Oh, I don't work for them anymore.
Kohl's is going to get wind of this and they are going to be pissed. Say goodbye to your discounts.
Darn it. But yeah,
No, that was good.
But like I don't feel bad because like it's a job. You know, I don't owe these people things. I'm not a job loyalist.
Is there any part of you that would, do you think, if you were working a job and you knew somebody wasn't there because they were playing video games, that you'd feel bitter? Or
I would feel upset because like if it was something that I was like, oh darn it, I should have taken the day off for that.
Right. I wish I had that idea.
Right. But like not really, because like what okay, so I'm also not tied into video game. Like you're at work for 8 hours max, right? So like after that 8 hours you can go home and play it. So it's like, yeah, you're missing out on that 8-hour time, but it's like you'll get there to play it eventually. It's not like, it's a holiday that you have to work. I've worked my share of holidays back in retail, which pissed me off. But like it wouldn't upset me. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, he's home playing video games while I'm stuck here and my kids are, like.
Yeah, let's expand to the idea of just taking a weekend in general or a day to play a new video game release. I mean, for something like, I feel like I see this a lot for big high profile games, something like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is a game that people will probably spend hundreds of hours in.
Right.
And so I kind of get wanting to just dive in and, again, this game was announced years ago. It's been delayed because of COVID and all these things. It's been 6 years, believe it or not, since Breath of the Wild, since the Switch launched.
The Switch came out 6 years ago?
6 years ago in March.
Wow.
6 years old. Yeah. It's long in the tooth, that puppy. But call it a saber-toothed tiger. That's a cat. But anyway.
I'm requesting paid time off right now from the show.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that can be granted. So I get the instinct, and I get there's something nice about being able to just say, especially if you have the kind of job that doesn't follow you home,
right?
That isn't, you don't have to answer emails for afterwards, where you can just say, I've got 3 days to I'm gonna order pizza and it's just the Zelda time, baby.
Right.
I'm into that. And there also maybe is a risk of, you could burn out on a game doing that too.
Yeah.
And maybe there's something to be said for the other way of, like you said, just waiting till you get home after work and playing a few hours here and there, and you won't exactly get sick of it.
But like I do, so I'm like redacting my, not redacting,
yeah,
but
redact.
Like going back on because I don't work a regular 9 to 5. What you're watching is what I do for work. So I have a lot of free time because I make my own schedule. I work for myself.
I take these recording days off. I work in a cubicle. It's standard stuff.
It's true. He's actually right over there. I don't know why we don't film this in person.
Yeah. Anyway, so continue.
But so like my fiance works a typical 9 to 5 job, and I get it because he comes home. So working an 8-hour job isn't, I'm going to put my gavel down. Working an 8-hour job isn't just like you are away from home for 8 hours. It takes an hour to drive there, an hour to drive home, plus you have your lunch break and you have all that stuff. So it's like, at the end of the day, a 8-hour job is a 10-hour time commitment. So you come home from work, it's not like you're automatically walking in the door, throwing your bag down, plugging into a video game. Mm-hmm, you need time to be like, decompress, talk to it, like if you have a significant other, like do whatever, eat food. So like at the end of the day, that Friday is shot. So I get it.
You got to replenish your spoons.
You have to replenish all your spoons because is there a spoon
the spoons
thing
of the kingdom
for Zelda? Do they have spoons? No, they don't.
There's a shovel.
There's a shovel.
Yeah. Now I feel like we need Danny on the show. Sometimes we bring him up a lot. But
Sure.
Now he's a big WoW player. Has he ever taken a day off when a new WoW expansion comes out?
Yes.
Okay.
He's taken a day off from work. He's taken a day off from me. He's gone to me and like we have a shared as couples do, like a shared Google Calendar. And he will put in like the last time the big expansion came out. I don't know what it was. That game, whatever. So
Winds of the Ice House.
Right. So when Winds of the Ice House came out, he put it in the calendar like today the expansion drops, and I'm like fine. So I know he's going to be sitting there ignoring me. Like I could be on fire. He'd be like, yeah, I'm in a queue. Go away. So like there's stuff like that. So
Yeah,
he's definitely.
What's like the biggest? I feel like for console releases has been, but I'm big for me in terms of taking time to dedicate to a new game. But I'm trying to think of it just a game by itself that I really was like, either did a midnight launch or even beyond a midnight launch that I was like, I need the weekend to really dig into. I think maybe the last time that happened to me might have been Red Dead Redemption 2.
Right.
Was a big one that I knew. I was like, I know I want to just jump into this and play it for hours this week because I'm excited about it. It's a huge game.
You're like now technically a video game journalist. Let's
Technically
say.
true.
So like, this would make sense for you to be like, I'm working. Like this is your job. I need to work.
I need to take time on to play this game.
Right. So like you have to like play this game when it comes out, and you can't miss because that's work for you.
Look at that. That's I mainly write just news stories about video games for the most part, but the games that I have reviewed, sometimes it is a funny thing, and I think this is true. Anytime you talk to anybody who makes their hobby a job, it's like, I gotta put in how many more hours of this game before I can give an opinion on it.
Well,
like,
let's think about it.
Exhausting.
You and I used to work in board gaming and tabletop gaming.
Yeah, that was.
We would take literally like this was time where I used to take off. We used to take one big weekend during the summer and play board games as a collective group, and a lot of those were new games from Gen Con, which was the bigger convention in board gaming. So like we would take vacation time and like go to this location and all play games together. So like that's kind of this that we would take time off and this would be a gaming weekend.
That's true. Not a video game, but yeah, that is kind of true. You would devote yourself to that.
Because we used to have to do that a lot for board games.
Yeah, like I could see doing that also with board games are a little weirder because the release dates are so they're not set in stone the way video games are. But you could do, Twilight Imperium is a game that could literally last you a whole day.
Right.
Or did I just burp a little bit on Mike?
Gross.
Sorry.
Gross.
I hope everybody liked that.
And like, you didn't even just burp. Like your mouth was like...
Yeah, I didn't eat anything today, and I think there's like stomach acid bubbling up.
Oh, your body's like attacking you right now. Yeah.
Man, this is good content.
You should take the day off and go take some PTO and get some to eat.
I got heartburn. Anyway, or like a game that's a tournament game. Maybe you play multiple times in a weekend. Or I could say one time what I did do was I believe it took a total of 3 straight days pretty much when me and some of my friends watched through every, at the time, Marvel movie that came out.
Yep.
in anticipation of the time it was Avengers Endgame.
Right.
Which is funny because at the time you could do it in 3 days. If you tried to do that now, I think it would take you a full week.
If not more.
Especially if you're including the TV shows.
Right.
You're screwed at that point. So yeah, it's interesting. There's different, but video games feel sort of singular in this compared to other things. That there's something about it that, and also video games. A board game. you are engaged.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting up at the table. You're thinking about your next move. A video game, you're on the couch, baby.
Right.
It's a little
You
bit
may
more...
or may not be wearing pants. There's nobody around you. You're kind of just there.
Yeah, pants are definitely not going to happen.
Now, I'm not wearing any.
If we can get back to this case, I think there's one last important wrinkle that we need to iron out to know how we feel about this. And that is, whether or not Lincoln is justified in taking the time off to play the video games. He was then asked by a coworker, kind of as a favor, could you let me have this time off for a family reason? And he says no. Now, we don't know. I don't know how close these two are, how long they've been working together. Under what circumstances, if you were in Lincoln's shoes, would you agree to trade off with someone else, or would you not do it?
I've been in Lincoln's shoes. I have taken days off, so we do like camping trips and like we'll plan vacations and stuff like that. And when I was working at one of the places I was working at, it was an office. I had this day off. I took this day off 6 months in advance. I had the hindsight to go in and put it on the calendar, request it off, approved. Fine. Someone was like, oh, my son is leaving for college, let's say. I need this day off to go and say goodbye, spend time with him, whatever. And I'm like, no. You... Now, if it was... Okay, I sound like a dick, but...
No.
You knew that, like, if it was something pre-planned, like, Mother's Day is coming up, Christmas, I need this day off. If you, as an adult, because you have a job, you are both grown adults who are working and should have planning and life skills around this. Many don't. It's fine. You should have also, applied for this day off a while ago, as Lincoln did for that day. So, like, unless it was like, oh my God, my mother's in the hospital. If it was something like that, sure, take the time off. It was like, oh, I need to go to the hospital. Fine, whatever. But I also, like, as a very liberal American, I also think, like, why should you have to come to me and request this day off? Shouldn't there be enough employees here that you can go talk to the manager and be like, I'm not coming in this day. Figure it out.
Right. So that's, yeah. So the first part of it, I think I agree with you on if it's some kind of an emergency, a last minute thing.
Right.
That makes a big difference. Does it, and I want to say more, but I want to also ask you, does it make a difference if this was someone you knew, like, what if you and I worked a job and I asked you and I was like, damn, I forgot I want to visit my mom. I know you want to play that new video game, but can we swap? Would you let?
Well, at that point, like, if I knew you, I would be like, why don't we do a half? Like, I'll work 4 hours, you work 4 hours. Like, I'll come in the first 4 hours of your shift, so you can leave early, or like something like that.
A compromise is
right.
not a bad.
For somebody I knew, like somebody close to me.
Okay, yeah, that's fair, and yeah, I think. The other thing you said, I feel that we're going to find with many of these cases, often the actual enemy is capitalism.
Right.
we all I feel like we've said that before. That is the true bad guy here. It should be on the employer to figure this out. And I mean, there should be the question. And again, this is part of why maybe it matters a little bit to know exactly what this job is and exactly what the parameters of them taking time off is.
Right.
Because is this something where the boss is just saying, no, I really can't let you take that time off because we're lacking for people and we really need your help, and some people already called off? And are they like guilt tripping them more or less, or
right.
is it an actual clause that says, like, if you didn't request this much in advance, we can't guarantee, so it's dependent on this or that?
Well, it also sounds like, too, there's other employees there, because, like, there's other people who are, like, in the case where it's, like, not on board, like, oh, you should take this day off. Well, why aren't you covering them? Like, are you off this day? Like,
right.
Like, there's clearly other people to cover the shift or the cover whatever, and you're just one person taking this day off.
Right. They're singling out Lincoln because they know he's playing video games.
Because like I'm also like, you shouldn't have to, like, I've had jobs where they're like, oh, why are you taking off? It's none of your business.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would, like, if it was for a video game, I probably wouldn't mention it's for a video game.
Right.
Because, like, you also, too, are requesting for this day off.
So like, it doesn't. Yeah, it sounds like Lincoln didn't say that to his boss.
It just kind of came out over time.
Somehow he mentioned it, or he just people knew he was excited about Zelda, and it
Right.
sort of I don't. They put two and two together. I don't know.
And then they're using this to be like, oh, you're just taking a day off for a video game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree. You should be able to take a day off for any reason you want.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you just want to sit in bed. Then that's your day off. That's totally fine. There's no. It shouldn't be considered more or less valid. Now, I mean, you could get into arguments about, well, what if somebody's mom is dying or something, but
right, but whatever.
Whatever.
That's fine.
Fuck them.
That's fine.
All right.
They have a day for it. It's Mother's Day. You pick that day. It's for that.
You've got a whole day.
Come on.
Is there anything else we should cover here before we get into verdicts? Have we explored the angles?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Like, it is a big ticket game. Not a big ticket game. It's a big. It's an event day. It's a. He's getting the game that day. It's not tied into anything.
Arguably, probably the biggest release of the year. I think.
So like, yeah, he's definitely like has like if this is his personality, if he is a gamer, this is who he is. He gets the right to like, this is his big day. It's like when like somebody who, let's say, is a gardener is like, oh, it's garden season. I want to start doing this on this day, or like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when Pikmin comes out, the gardeners are into
right.
that.
Right. All the gardeners love Pikmin. It's, Animal Crossing, all the interior decorators take your day. Don't try to get your house interior designed on the day Animal Crossing comes out. You'll never get an interior designer. It'll never happen.
Booked.
It's
absolutely
booked.
Not.
Right.
The best they'll give you is they'll send you a little design on a grid that you can print onto a shirt or something.
Right, but they will charge you for it. It will be a few bells that you need to give.
It'll be a few bells. They'll send a little angry mole to yell at you.
Right.
He doesn't do that anymore. The Zoomers don't know that reference.
Zoomers don't know.
The Zoomers don't know about the OGAC.
No, dude. Okay, Boomer,
Yeah.
calm down now.
So, I think that everything you've said is pretty much right on the money.
Right.
And I think that ultimately Lincoln is not doing anything wrong. Now, you could argue that maybe Lincoln could just wouldn't it be a nice gesture for Lincoln to aid one of his coworkers and to simply say, you know what, I recognize that we're all human, right, and maybe you should have made it in advance, but you know what, I get it. You didn't. You slipped your mind for whatever reason. I'll be the bigger person here, and I'll give you my time. That would make Lincoln a good guy, but I don't think that not doing that makes Lincoln a bad guy.
But would it make him a good guy though? Because they're gonna be like, oh, we can step all over him. Now he's a floor mat. We can kind of.
Well, I think he would have to say, you would have to get some kind of a trade. You'd have to okay, I'll do it, but you better next time I need a day off, you better have my back, or
you better give
the
me a
next
Google
week.
job, right?
Yeah, or something like that. But but certainly in the context of this case, although there is that and depending on how the person asked and the demeanor and everything, maybe you could just again be a good person and just go for it. But by strictly the reading of the situation of what's going on here, he's not doing anything wrong. There's
right.
No reason he shouldn't take this day off. The fact that it's video games shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter what it actually is.
Now
he did the work. He got it.
You have guilt in you. You are a guilty man.
So much.
What would you do?
No idea.
You took this day off 6 months ago. Person A comes up to you. What would you do? Oh
yeah, interesting. It's because we've mentioned on the show how much I hate confrontation.
Right.
If someone actually directly asked me to swap, I want to. I don't. There's a chance I could fold. To be honest with you,
and them knowing, because it was, if they know about video games, they'd be like, "So I see you have this day off and you're going to go play a video game."
Yeah. See, I would probably never get. I would not be in this situation exactly because I would do everything I could to make sure nobody knew.
Right. Or lie. Be like,
I would either lie, or just skirt the issue. I wouldn't say what this was for.
Right.
Well, here's the real truth. Well, I don't know. This is the scummy thing where the person, if there's a good chance they went to the boss first, and the boss probably said, "You'll have to ask somebody else if they can cover for you."
That's 100% what happened. Oh, we have 3 people off this day. You can't take this shift. Go find out from X, Y, and Z if they can cover your shift.
And what this coworker really should do is say to their boss, "Look, I'm taking the day off.
Right.
You can either find someone to cover for me or you won't, but I don't care." But again, that kind of, some of that depends on what kind of job this is and what the rules and regulations are. I'd like to say that I would be like Lincoln, and maybe I would. If I knew they had no idea what I was going to do, then I'd probably lie and say, "I really can't. I'm sorry. I have to do something." If there was even a chance that they knew I was just playing video games, I'd probably cave.
But you even said it yourself, though. Like, this is you earned this day.
Oh, yeah.
It's part of your contract.
I fully believe that in my heart, but I would feel too awkward.
Get after it, yeah.
Like, I got to be around this person. I don't want them to be mad at me.
Now, you get out of this scot-free. You lied. You said, "Oh, I have to take my cat to the vet. That's why I need the day off." Mm-hmm. You're sitting at home playing the video game. Do you feel guilty?
No, I don't think I'd feel guilty.
Me neither.
No, I'd be having a blast.
Yeah, because I'm the kind of person that, like, I come home from work, maybe like 30 minutes after I'm home, I like kind of like vent with whoever. Then it's gone. I'm done. Yeah, work's off. Yeah.
Okay, that person doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly. I don't know unless I know them like personal. Like if you and I work together, that's different. But like a work person.
Then I'm just posting selfies on Instagram all day of me playing video games. This is great.
In front of your TV, just with your foldy phone.
With my foldy phone. I think that I've said it, pretty much laid out my thoughts on this case already. I'm just going to go ahead and give Lincoln a not guilty.
100%. But you know who is guilty? Link. For putting out a game. No, for putting out a game on the same day that he has to work. How dare he?
Yeah, it's funny. I hadn't even considered that it was the same weekend as Mother's Day. It's a funny... Yep.
So a lot of mothers are going to be disappointed. But yeah, he's not guilty. Not guilty at all. Because like you worked hard for these days off. You put in this time, I'm assuming well in advance, the way the case summary came up with. And if you want to go home, it's like people going, "Oh, I'm taking the day off to go see my sports team play in the sports game." It's the same thing. It's just, people have different views on different things, and video games are lower to most people. And to us, It is a higher thing. Like, we've taken days off for the big one I took a weekend off for was when the Wii came out, and we camped out for the Wii.
Yeah. So yeah, we concur. We concur here. Video games, justice for video games, justice for gamers. # not all gamers. # gamers. So what's our sentencing going to be for? It's got to be for. I don't even want to punish Lincoln's coworker is being punished just by the fact that they don't get their time off, probably.
Right. Yeah. Lincoln's coworker is also playing the game of like trying to survive in this economy, in this world of
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody gets a sentence.
I'd do the same thing as that. I mean, I wouldn't I would put judgment on the people who are judging Lincoln.
Right.
I think that's the people going too far, but otherwise I would just try to sentence, the actual employer of this company.
Well, let's sentence the employer that they must have a game Friday. One Friday every month, you have to let your employees play video games on company time while getting paid. It.
Or I don't know what this job is. Probably it might not make sense, but if you could just do remote work, that's even better. I'm working from home today.
Chime in every now and then. You hear hua, hua, hua in the background of.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That sounds good. So basically, our sentencing for this case is mandatory mass work reform in the United States.
Right. And if we can figure that out and replace it with video games.
Income.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we can figure that out, that's fine.
As judges, everything we say is final or something that
it's
we
true.
say.
We say just watch the opening. Rewatch the opening, refresh it so it counts as a different view. If you could put it onto a different VPN, that'd be great as well. So yeah.
Wow. Well, that was our sentencing.
Right. We need to hurry up because we need to start playing Zelda.
I've got things. We
didn't take off.
Bokoblins to Slash, and I've got Lionel's to bow
Richie?
and arrow.
Oh.
That too.
I have pots to break. Do you still smash?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's gonna be pots. There's gonna be rupees. All that good stuff.
It's really crazy to me that it's been 6 years since the last mass Legend of Zelda game.
Really makes you kind of want to hang yourself, doesn't it?
Every day. I wouldn't call off for it though. I do it right at my desk.
Yeah, it's wild. Let us know, listeners and viewers of this show, whether you be on the YouTube or on the podcast platform of your choice.
Because you could find us both there.
What you think about this case, if you have taken time off to play a video game and how fair you feel it is, email us. Our address is geeksontrial@gmail.com. That's also where you can submit your own geeky case from your real life, and we will give you a fair and impartial verdict on this show, just as we did for Lincoln. You can also use our submission form, which has a link in our episode description.
A Lincoln?
A link in our episode.
Lincoln, I get what you did there. That's funny. It's
not intentional.
Oh, you didn't?
Is it funny?
Lie. Well, it's a writer's strike. We didn't plan these out.
No,
we didn't.
Trust me.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
And if you want to help us get a writer when we could hire them at real wages, head on over to our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/geeksontrial, and you can help support the show for just a few bucks a month. And if you want to help us in a free manner, because the Patreon need to give us money, and we like money, so we could buy games like Breath of the Wild 2. I don't know what it's called.
That's what it's
called. Breath of the Wild 2, back in the Boogaloo, Electric Boogaloo, whatever.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up and a 5-star rating so we can excel and be seen and heard by more ears and eyeballs.
Yeah, go over to iTunes. Give us a little rating. It's fast. It's easy. It'll make us happy. You'll help us out. That'd be great.
Right. Let us know what you think.
Now, this was not intended, but I love that this was the case we ended up with today because it ties into my own personal plug. I'm going to tell people, first of all, you can follow me on Twitter at Quentz, where I tweet things like about the Thumb Wars movies. You'll go there, you'll see. Yeah, but also, I know that Zelda's the big hot game on the Switch right now, but just a few weeks earlier, they released the Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, which is the new remake of the old Advance Wars games in the Game Boy Advance. And I wrote a review for that title over at gonintendo.com. If you go there this week, it should be on the front page, or you can search for it. Game that I really liked. I really had a lot of fun with it. I recommend it if you have time when you're not playing Zelda. Right. Check out my thoughts on the Advance Wars games.
Awesome. You can find me over on all the social medias. I'm at Ivan Arhan on Instagram, Twitter, and the like. And you can also find me on YouTube, youtube.com/thesnackguy. And I'm reviewing some kind of snack this week. I don't remember what I recorded, but it's some kind of snack, and you'll enjoy it.
What was the last one you did?
The last one I did, the last video was for the Sierra Mist replacement Starry.
I thought you did another one after that, no?
I don't remember what it was.
All right. Who can say?
Don't remember.
That's why you got to go there and sub. You got to keep up to date.
It's true.
Because you never know what's going to happen.
I don't even know what I put out. That's how fresh and it's good my content is. I don't even know.
Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us for today's case. Of course, we'll see you next week for another one. And say hi to your mother for me. And
say hi to your mother. Say hi to your mother.
I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Ivan Hahn. And this is Geeks on Trial.